So, hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about someone of my heroes or the persons that I consider one of the most important persons in the society. Why? Well, that is something that we are going to meet and we are going to talk about. To my project, I choose it to Niels Rutherford. So for start, I want to say that he was one of the biggest scientific in the 20s. Why? Because he made a lot of discoveries about the core of the atom, and with that, he could make his most important discovery, that was to transmute an element. Yes, like you are listening to, he was able to could change an element from the periodic table. That sounds crazy, but we are going to dip it on to Colin Lester more about that. So first, I would like to talk about his life. We are going to look in past the positive some of his most important facts in his life, but I would like just to talk some around seven, not a lot by the time. So, for start, he born it in Nueva Zelanda, the August story in 1998, 71,000 years. Yeah, like Nikola Tesla, he's from Nueva Zelanda. That is something crazy and interesting. Sorry if I sound it is strange, but I actually sick. Yes, I'm going to try to do my best. So the most important points I would like to say is that in 1905, he became the helper of J.J. Thomson, who was studying the X-ray, and without he could discover the radiation that Henry Becquerel had talked before. That is a crazy idea that we had in the past, but anybody believed it in until the moment J.J. Thomson arrived and tells the scientific society that the X-ray exists. So one of his another point I would like to talk about is that in 1900, he married with the Mary Newton. Yeah, Mary Newton is the doctor from this name is Isaac Newton. Yes, she's his doctor. I don't know how he could do that, but he married with her. That is something crazy. But well, they married in 109,000, and in 9,001, they had her only one girl, named Elaine Rutherford. Uh, the next year, 190,002, with the help of Frederick Soddy, he pushed the theory of radioactive disintegration. With that, they could explain the thorium emanations at the disintegration rates, because there were some facts that were making crazy the scientific society. And in 1907, he started like a teacher in the Manchester University, where with Hannah Geiger help, made an alpha particle detector falling into alpha particles with helium core. And thanks to that, they won the Chemistry Nobel Award. But in the future, he is going to want more than this, but there is something that we are not going to talk about deep enough. In 19,010, Rutherford started a new atomic model that focuses on the mass in the core of the atom. He made the precursor of the sonar. It is a tool that a lot of submarines use to could know more about the area where they are on. There is something that helped a lot in the war because like if we look at the date, we're going to determine that all these experiments, all these facts were possible thanks to the war. That is something spectacular, is something sad, but at the same is exciting because like we know the war always is going to move on the society. In 1970, he made the first atomic transmutation, changing to the nitrogen into oxygen. He transformed these AirPods into a cell phone. It's something like that. It sounds crazy, but he made it possible. How did he? How could he do that? Well, do you remember the reductive disintegration? If you don't know what is this, I'm going to talk about. But in a resume, the disintegration is explaining to to the radioactivity where we have at this principal element and we have something named electrons. These electrons are by or living around the atom, and the atom has protons and neutrons. So the first hypothesis of Rutherford talking about the radioactivity was a consequence from the atomic internal instability phenomenon, like if a secondary mechanism it was. He said that the radioactivity could, could not be a secondary phenomenon. Instead of it must to be understood like a central spectrum, taking up the idea that from the core, similar particles were taken off from this one magnitude of the atom could have similar mass to each other. What does it mean? We have this paper, so we have a core. Rutherford said that if I taking off a piece of this paper, it's going to be the same paper. It's going to be a new element named oxygen. He said that the electrons were taken off from the core of the atom, making it possible that radiation. The radiation is that energy that were taken off from the core. That radioactivity is a consequence from the fact that a specific element like thorium or uranium were transformed into another. Do you remember? We're going to change thorium or uranium into a new object, a new element. So with that, change the process had like a product alpha and beta particles. And with the transformation of the disintegration of the original element, the element that we are going to name like the beta, we are going to have a new one, naming like the floor. That now we're naming like thorium X or uranium X because like if I had a pen, but it had changed a bit the color, I'm going to have the same pen, but with a different valuation. Okay, now we understand that the alpha and beta radiations are a consequence of this radioactive element's core instability. What does it mean? I had my atom core, but it doesn't have this stability. It is always changing, always is moving on. But what happens when the energy It's a lot. Okay, that are going to happen is that one of these electrons are going to go out. And now this core is going to have new characteristics. It doesn't hide the same. It doesn't have the same large. It's a beautiful topic, but by the time I cannot depend on this either. So I would like to say that without Neil Rutherford, we cannot live it like we do now. This man was one of the most intelligent and smartest minds in this 20th century. Well, the fact is that he was a pioneer in a lot of areas. I don't know who can explain this feeling, but when I look at him, into my memory came this scene from this cartoon named Dexter's Laboratory.
I am sorry, my mentor. I have failed you.